Massive number of people have been upgrading. Yes,
there you go. You see the graceful limb that you were talking about before.
The race we've got yet again, and a victor then goes victory to an American, Andy Hampton.
The felt it go by. He looks at the Colombian rider. How are you doing?
Straight past Santiago Botero, and he's coming up to Pantani.
Armstrong is sitting in the first last few hundred metres as we come towards the finish of this monumental stage. And
as we start to approach the line now, Pantani grits his teeth and accelerates and over the line.
Is going now to win stage number 15. Sepp Kuss, an emotional finish from Durango in the USA. Sepp Kuss wins.
Everybody to the Between Two Wheels podcast 2023 year-end edition. Happy New Year, Victor. Victor, I got your card in your communications. I appreciate that. Sorry, it's been a busy time as of late. Hope everyone's doing well. So, thought I would give a few little breakdowns of kind of what I have planned for the year for this show, and we'll put you up on the screen there. There you go. Thanks, Victor. A little bit of what we have planned for the show going forward, and me personally, and then we'll get into kind of a recap of some things. I always like to do these, and I like to do predictions, and I haven't done any kind of research and prep for this. But what made me think about it was the Cycling Podcast. They did a breakdown of their they did a compilation. They cut up their Giro, Tour, and Vuelta podcast, and then they put it out. So it was like, an hour sum of like the highlights and all that. And it was barely cycling, and it was all their travels around. And I'm like, I don't care. And then I'm like, I could do that with mine. I've done commentary and but that takes time, that takes effort. And Victor says, great year to come in 2024. Yeah, I hope so. I'm actually been back on the bike, been doing some running. My back has been problematic since like August, like very bad. So I'm finally to the point where I could do these kind of things. Now I've let myself go, drink, maybe, or eating and not exercising. So I'm back into it. I'm doing that. It's a bit rough there. So that's my plan. And I plan to actually race this year. That's my goal, which means when I get out to races, then I end up doing more podcasts with people live, which is kind of a thing. But I'm still planning, because I absolutely loved doing it last year, which was all the major grand tours, doing a 30-minute show every day of those. So that will be something I will continue to do and bring you. There's a little bit of a few things in the news. We'll get to that. But I thought we would just walk through some of these highlights for the year, and I'm going to walk through the calendar and just say, talk about who won stuff, kind of remind you of that, kind of like a memory lane here. But let's just start with this. Pogacar on Cycling Tips, they just voted him favorite rider 2023, and I could see why. He got most of the votes. Mathieu van der Poel second, Wout van Aert third, Peter Sagan retired in fourth there, Roglic fifth, Contador retired, Valverde retired, although he's kind of been in and around. He did that gravel thing, and then he's what else has he been doing? Let me see if I can get there. You go, a little better. And then and he's also, there's rumored that he might be coming back. So Mason Marlowe says make Tyler Yonke. yeah, good. Have a good. I'm looking forward to riding with you soon here, Mason. Cancellara, Eddie Merckx. Those are your top 10 there. The highest climbers ranking. I don't even understand this. Looking at the top 10, we find that's something else. Gino Mater, he passed away. I don't know if there's a voting. This must be a voting thing. He's on the top of the list, sorted by most positions gained. The rider from Bahrain Victorious, who tragically died in a car crash. The Tour de Suisse is still in the hearts, it's spelled wrong, of many fans. Gino Mater, Skelmos, Matteo Jorgensen, I don't know what this is. These are voting things. So top 500 ranking, only riders that are at least 5 years retired. Contador. So, and Lance Armstrong. So a lot of druggies in this one. Cancellara, remember his bike had a motor. Tom Boonen, he got busted for coke once. Indurain, I don't know if he ever got busted for anything. Pantani killed himself and he was doing drugs. Jan Ulrich definitely has a drug problem. Sean Kelly, maybe, I don't know. And Bernardino, he once punched out a protester. There you go. So that's our little whole thing there. I'm gonna walk through. Let's go back here. I'm gonna walk through a few other items here. Once again, I'm taking everything from basically Pro Cycling Stats, and we're gonna do a Gantt chart of their the calendar, which is pretty interesting little way to go. Look, problematic things now with websites, which is they make you pay for everything, and I'm not necessarily into all that. Cycling Stats at least has some good things, but a few of those are no longer around. So anyway, we started out the year. I'm not going to break down every single rider or win here, but started out Tour Down Under. And we'll just click on here and just kind of walk through oh, this didn't do it. I might have the wrong chart. Let's see if this other calendar worked a little better. Maybe we'll use this one. Okay, there we go. Santos Tour Down Under. It's still giving me the same. I just clicked it. I walked through these, and before did a little bit of research. But Jay Vine won that, and Omloop. Let's see. News Black. Was that Dylan Van Barl? This is not going to go the way that I wanted to go to results. Maybe we have to do that on every one. Oh, you know what? This is giving me the calendar for the next year I wanted the 2023 calendar. These are 2024s. There we go. Okay. All right. This is the problems you have when you do a show like this that you don't prep on. Okay. So there we go. Santos Tour Down Under for 2023. It's it still is doing this damn thing here for me. Let's see if this does it. There we go. Jay Vine, Magnus Sheffield, remember, coming in fourth. That race is coming up here in the next 2 weeks down there in Australia. Got a little Aussie news coming for you, so that'll be something not so great to talk about. The UAE Tour was kind of your first big step here. We had Evenepoel wins that. Sepp Kuss comes out here top 5, and he got some actual placings in that race out there. And so Brandon McNulty, Riccatella, those guys were out there, and it was something you could start to see. But Evenepoel obviously got the win, and Adam Yates started his season off pretty strong as well. That was first race of the year for Sepp Kuss, and then he didn't really race, I think, until Volta Ciclista a Catalunya, which Roglic ended up taking the win on that one. Actually, this list here, the winners, so I could just go in there. Dylan Van Barl on Omloop, Strade Bianca with Pidcock. That was one of his first big races. Remember, mountain bike Olympic champion. And then we had Paris-Nice. Pogacar you start to see the big guys. Pogacar, Roglic for Tirreno, Milan-San Remo, which was a great finish. I remember that one. That's kind of an epic little picture that they've had. The 4 guys coming through the finish there. Van der Poel, who gets the win. Filippo Ganna is there. Wout and Pogacar, followed in by Soren Kragh Andersen, Pedersen, and Nilsen Paulus in that group. He did a great race there, top American in 7th place. And what we ended up seeing with Nilsen Paulus for the year was some impressive riding on the very long one-day races. You had this one, a few other classics. You had the World Championships. He was doing fairly well up there as well. So good stuff, and more to come from him. I think he's staying there with EF, so good for him. And then we had the Ciclista de Catalunya. That was Roglic coming out on top of that one. Depain, you get some sprinters in there. A good showing this year by Jasper Phillips, and he had a 3-4 wins there at the Tour. Depain, E3, Saxo Bank. Wout didn't have a big year of wins. He had this win here in the Saxo Bank. We'll just take a look here. as far as his season goes. So he gets a win there at Copy Bernacchi. I don't know what that one was. Is this the first part of the race of the year? He also got general classification at the Tour of Britain later on in the year, but I mean, that was Tour of Britain. UCI World Gravel Series. Okay, he got that. World Championships, he was second place in that one. Tour de France, no stage wins, but he did, he got the Belgian National Championships there. Tour de Suisse, he won the points, but no stage racing there. Paris-Roubaix, third. Like we said, the E3 Saxo Bank Classic, he was first place in there. That was his win. Just not a great year for overall wins, but he did a lot of work, and especially at the Tour, really helped his team out, Vinigo, this year. But with that showing at E3 Saxo, then you started having his teammate, Christophe Laporte, comes in there again, Wevelgem. Who was there with him? Because it was the team, yeah, he and Wout. So he gave the win to Wout. We do kind of understand that that's, Wout gave the win, to Christophe Laporte. We do understand that's actually the situation that happened there. But then Christophe Laporte comes in that Dwars van Vlaanderen Tour de Flanders. And that's another one. We had Nielsen Palace coming up there in third place, and Christophe Laporte getting the win for Jumbo. Pogacar goes in there at, that's the Tour, Ronde van Vlaanderen, Tour de Flanders. This was been the midweek race. There you go. And then the Tour of the Basque Country, that's when we start to see Vinigo stepping in and having his wins. Paris-Roubaix, we had Van der Poel and Amstel Gold, Pogacar, Flèche Wallonne, Pogacar. And by the way, you had Mike Woods, I think, in fourth place on Fletch. Yeah, Mikel Landish, Gilmos. So you started to see some of those riders. No Americans. That's for some reason. I mean, you have Sheffield down here in 58th place, but for some reason, I mean, that's actually a race I think, some of these climbing guys should be able to do fairly well. But so such it is. Liège. Oh, it goes there. We got to filter this thing again. It's a crappy calendar thing. Here we go. Liège. Amstel Gold, Pogacar, Liège, or Flèche Wallonne won by Pogacar. Liège, Bessel Liège, what, 3 or so wins in a row by Remco Evenepoel. Let's take a look there, because that was another one. Ben Healy had a good race. He was also second in one of the other classics to Pogacar. I think that's when we saw Pogacar taking a pretty good swig. Not quite Sepp Kuss-like, but they had the bottles there, and it might have been Amstel, and he just plugged the whole thing all at once. Pretty impressive. But Pidcock coming in second. Remember, those two guys went over the top together, and then he just, Remco literally just rode Pidcock off his wheel in a very impressive fashion. But, all this early season racing might have been the downfall of Evenepoel coming in later on to some of the bigger races. Then we started seeing some of the stage races coming up here. Tour Romandy, Adam Yates gets the win. Also had a very good tour. Remember, UAE, he was up there second. He had a good, I think there was an American Tour Romandy. I want to say Jorgensen. There you go. Matteo Jorgensen was second. He's gone over to Jumbo. So that will be something to see. Then we had the Giro, and I thought I'd play a little clip here of a Giro because won by Roglic. And if you take a look after the Vuelta, I went back and took a little look at some specific stages. And but for, I don't even know if I really want to play this. This is me giving a breakdown of stage 16 at the Vuelta. But we're gonna play a little clip here of me talking about the Giro, stage 16, and talk about what happened. And you look at the comments on that day, it was kind of interesting that Brian Zimney said. So I think I'll just go full screen here for this.
As that happens, Sepp Kuss looks around. No one reacts. Thomas doesn't looking dapper. Thank you, Brian. I have court in a little bit.
All right, let's back it up just a bit.
Rowan Dennis
there we go.
peeled off the front. Teams look like they're not sure what to do. And so UAE takes over. They've got Davide Formolo up there, and then Brandon McNulty, and then João Almeida. Formula is going good, and before they catch Luisi, McNulty's like, I won 2 days ago. We had a rest day. I'm out, and he was done. Hugh Carthy was hanging on the back. You had Eddie Dunbar up there in the GC group hanging on. Sepp Kuss just looked spry as can be. He looked ready to go. But you did have Roglic sitting back a ways, and that's not unusual, by the way. Well, it kind of is. You typically do see him a little bit further up. But the GCN commentators were like, hey, Sepp Kuss is on his wheel. That's so no, that happens all the time. You see Roglic rides, Sepp Kuss is kind of behind him, kind of as a gatekeeper and they're ready to go. And that's the situation that you had. Then they brought everybody back. Everyone's kind of there. Now it's just Jalomita's been on the front. His teammates have been dispersed, and everything's looking kind of good. Hugh Carthy's been dispatched a little bit. Amrail's suffering to try to get back on, and you have this contingent here: Jalomita, Sepp Kuss, G. Thomas, and Roglic. Okay, then Jal takes a bite at it. He decides he's going to hit out, and he's up the road a little bit. And as soon as that happens, Sepp Kuss looks around. No one reacts. Thomas doesn't looking dapper. Thank you, Brian. I have court in a little bit, so I 10:30 Pacific out in Roseville. So I'm just going to shut this out and I'll put this out real quick, and then I got to drive up there and handle somebody's custody business. Anyway, that's my personal life. So the problem you have then is Jal goes up the road. He's been looking good. He's this diesel guy. He does pretty good, but no one jumps with him. Sepp Kuss immediately looks around and paces back. Now it takes him a few kilometers to actually get kind of up to the thing. And the whole time you're seeing him go around these tight bends. There's just a little bit of a gap with Roglic kind of being out, because I think it's Sepp. You've got Dunbar's there too, but Eddie and he and Roglic are kind of battling on the back. And at some points, Dunbar, I think, gets distance here. And right before they're getting up to Jalomita, you can see that there was a bit of a problem with Roglic tagging on. And right when that happens, I don't know if it came over the radio or Thomas had been well aware of it, he just scoots up. He gets immediately up to Jal because they were just off a little bit, gets up there and just hits it again. And I mean, because I think that's what was happening with Sepp, not just closing that gap right away. Sepp looked just fine. And matter of fact, it was this about 5 kilometers to go. This whole situation happens here. You end up getting Sepp driving it all the way to the last 700 meters for Roglic. And so I think Sepp was fine, but who wasn't fine was Roglic. Now we can talk about reasons and speculation as to.
Okay, so that's that little interlude there, because what was interesting about, and let's actually take a look here. So Brian in the comments that day says, I wonder what time gaps would have been without super domestique Sepp Kuss. So the only reason I play this is because I've gone back and looked at the clips and the whole entire Giro, the Tour, just to kind of see. I've actually gone back through several of them to see what is the significance of Sepp Kuss to these guys, because then we had the whole blow up in the Vuelta, which we'll get to. But to understand that, I would have, as an example, Roglic won the Giro this day, he would have lost it. He would have lost it overall. Because what you ended up seeing Sepp do was phenomenal. It was like I said 5K, but I think it was close to 7 to 10K that Sepp is on, just pulling nonstop. And they go over one little pitch and then they come down and then they have to go up with last one. And Roglic doesn't really do much. And Sepp, I think Roglic kind of, like I said, they're distanced Sepp a little bit. And because he was trying to tack up again, and then Sepp comes through. Anyway, just all the way to the finish. And there's no way that that Roglic would have been able to do that. I mean, he looked like he was on the rivet, and Sepp just kept looking back. So those are vital things to remember when you're talking about, does Sepp deserve to have their loyalty? Yeah, he did. And they kind of were little bitches about him in a sense there. So let's just look at the Giro real quick. I want to take a look at it. Roglic, 14 seconds over Geraint Thomas, 1:15 over Jalomita. Down here in 14th place was Sepp Kuss at 13:09 back, but did a tremendous amount of work. Remember, the very last day, you had Mark Cavendish coming in for the win, getting some help there with Geraint Thomas. I actually found the Giro to be an interesting race. I know some people said it was highly boring or something, but the last stage made it. I mean, it did it all. It made it pretty exciting for me. Then you start getting the Tour prep. You got the Criterium du Dauphiné. There you go. Once again, Jonas Vingegaard coming in. Pretty much, I think, destroyed everybody in the Dauphiné. I believe he won like 3 or 4 of the stages. Let me take a look here. Adam Yates, 223 back. We can look at all the stages if we want to. Giulio Ciccone wins that. We don't need to. We'll just go back here to the race. All right, then you had Tour de Suisse. Skelmos gets that. And sadly, that's the race that Gino Mader ends up crashing on. I think Magnus Sheffield as well. And pretty nasty crash that Gino Mader ended up dying. But we also had Felix Gall kind of coming out there in the Tour de Suisse. A bunch of people were crashing out and getting sick. And at some point, you had all the big guys kind of like not there. And Remco still hung around. And Remco's there. He ends up third place. Ayuso, we saw him kind of be Wilco Kelderman, Roman Bardet, as you can see there. So those were, let's see if if they have DNFs on. No, there we go. I just scooting through there, I saw Peter Sagan. Kind of like, oh, who? Yeah, he raced this year. So we had, wait, let's go back down here. I'm missing it. Tour de Suisse. Then we had the Tour de France. Tour de France with, as we know, Vingegaard. Once again, it was up until the second to last time trial. It was one of the most fantastic and close races because you had Vingegaard kind of taking the lead, dropping Pogacar. Then you had Pogacar dropping Vingegaard. And then they're just battling back and forth. Remember, there's the motorcycle incident that you had there. But you had Sepp Kuss coming in there. You had Wout. You had doing team stuff up ahead, then pulling with Vingegaard. But in the end, that second to take a look here. We'll go into it. It was that time trial that was just really, really devastating. There you go, stage 16. So up till stage 15. I mean, we'll look here at stage 15. You've got just a few. That's right. Wout Poels wins that race. It was a great race there. Lawson Craddock, these guys were in the break there, and Wout Poels put the hurt on, dropping Wout van Aert and getting that stage. But it's only 10 seconds going into stage 15. Then you had stage 16. That's the time trial that had a climb to it, and Vingegaard just destroyed Pogacar, who gets second place but loses to him by 1:38 in almost 3 minutes to Wout. Here you go. This is why I had some faith in Sepp Kuss. Now, it had a climby part to it. You can see here on the profile, it had climby portions to it. But Sepp Kuss comes in here at 14th place, and sure, it's 340 to his teammate, but he's not even trying, for the most part. And so these are some signs of hope that I had for him going into the Vuelta when the time trial was coming up there. And then you had Courchevel. Gall wins that, and that's where Vingegaard destroys Pogacar. Pogacar, I don't know if he had a bad day from the time trial, but he was hurting, so he lost a bunch of time that day. Sepp Kuss ended up losing a bit too as well, but Felix Gall puts in a tremendous ride that day and gets the stage win, and that's pretty much where everyone's just like, well, I think we're done and over on this one. So as the overall final GC, Vingegaard put 7:29, and then you had our boy Sepp Kuss down there in 12th place, which was almost. But remember, he got hit in the head. He fell down third last climb to the stages to go, and ended up beat up. As a matter of fact, in the Tour in the Vuelta, his head was still bandaged. You can see that. So, he lost a little bit of time there. Okay. So that was the Tour. Oh, remember, we had the Giro. We had Evenepoel was in the Giro. He was in the lead, and then he ends up getting COVID. So he ended up dropping out of that. And we're like, okay, we just don't really know what's going on with all these. So that was a Tour. Tour of Poland, Matej Mohoric wins that. Was it also the Tour that he won a stage there? Yeah, he won a stage. Pello Bilbao won a stage, and they both had really, really interesting and good interviews. Gino Mader was kind of on everyone's mind, but that was a situation that we had going in there. Then we had the Vuelta. We came to the Vuelta, and we know Sepp Kuss ends up winning that race, but it wasn't for sure. It starts out with a Triple T in the rain. Remco's complaining about it to everybody. Then a few days later, you had a mountaintop finish. Let me see, which one was that? I want to say 3 or 4 here. He ends up crashing over the line. That was not that one. But there was bad weather. There you go. Stage 3, he ends up winning that, but he crashes over the line into, it was supposed to go right, and he goes straight, runs into people. He's complaining about that. He was kind of a mess. But what you ended up seeing here, the Sepp Kuss, look at this one, stage 3 as a matter of fact. He had done all the work up until the last few hundred meters, and then kind of sat up. And luckily he didn't, he went as far as he could, And he only loses 13 seconds. Later on we'll see that he decides that those kind of seconds are not worth it for him to be doing. But there you go. Stage 6. Sepp Kuss gets up into like a 40-man break, ends up destroying the people he's with. Lenny Martinez, Roman Bardet, they're 26, 31 seconds back. Mikel Landa, 46 seconds back. Marc Soler was this other guy that was in contention there, or was at least after this. He loses almost a minute. And we did a breakdown of this climb, and Sepp Kuss only lost, I want to say 15, 20 seconds to Vinigo and Roglic, who ended up dropping Evenepoel. Did better time than Evenepoel up this climb, who actually kind of rebounded his way as the race, at least the climb. And so Sepp Kuss goes into red, but then the next day he ends up losing it to Martinez. And I want to say that was, so Lenny Martinez ends up getting the stage, or the overall for the GC for that day. And then we have a few interesting things that start here on stage 9. Kamna, see here, Sepp Kuss goes back into the lead. And then we started to see the situation fall, the triple T, or the individual time trial, where Filip Ogana comes there, destroys. Remco Evenepoel does really well. Roglic does well. But you know who also does well? Sepp Kuss, 13th place here, 129 back, and ends up staying in the GC. And at this point, he's in the GC for the duration of time. We have obviously the situations going in here. Sepp Kuss still over there with what was the stage? I want to say maybe was it Formigal? When we had, there we go, Jonas Vinigo for his daughter on her birthday. He ends up attacking, goes up the road. It's going to happen. Vinigo's going to get the win. Easy does it. But Sepp Kuss, about, I want to say 1.2 kilometers, he attacks, gets pushed off the side of the road, kind of a spectator, regains, hits it again, ends up getting the win, second place, and only 30 seconds down. But Roglic closes him down, kind of drags Ayuso and a few of these others, and you start to see it forming where you have the three-headed monster at the top here. At this point, you've got Sepp, Roglic, and Vinigo. Well, a few days after this, what is it? We'll just walk through some of these here, because Evenepoel starts to get some wins. He gets a win on the next day. He's not going to be denied. The next day, I think Sepp had a little bit of trouble on that one. Same idea. They were trying to chase things down. Rui Costa gets a win. People hated him because he wouldn't take poles. Then you get Vinigo. He ends up winning this one for, it's his teammate, Van Hooijdonk. He goes up the road. This is the one I was thinking of, where then they can't chase. And so then you have Roglic trying to go up the road. He's dragging everybody with him. But neither Sepp nor Roglic can really do what they want, which is if there's a guy that's within striking distance of you and he's going up the road, then when they say, let's just fight it out on the road, well, then you would say, then it's fine that he comes up there, that he chases and maybe brings everybody with him. But no, you can't do that. So this figuring it out on the road is bunk, because it's not the first one that attacks is almost the one that's going to be able to stay away and have the advantage. And we had talked about it at the time, and Vinigo had said this, like the first day when he attacked for his daughter, I have good legs, Sepp, I want to go. And Sepp's like, fine, you can win. So they did. Well, anyway, this one, Sepp had a little bit of trouble, but it was kind of the way that this road was. It wasn't super steep, and people are like, oh, he's getting trouble here. It's going to be tough the next day on the Angliru. Well, the Angliru was a little bit of tough, but it was tough for everybody else. You had also seen, I think, the Formigal or one of those stages there. João Almeida lost like a bunch of time. You saw Remco; he lost a ton of time. He just sat up, but then he was in it for. He was gonna, just go for stage wins. He was kind of trying to do that on this one on the Angliru as well. But this is the one with the crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Sepp Kuss, everybody's dropped. It's just Roglic, Vinigo, and Sepp Kuss up the climb. And by the way, Primoz puts on the best climbing performance ever on the Angliru. Vinigo puts on the second best timing ever on the Angliru. And Sepp Kuss puts the third best time on the Angliru. So why are you getting rid of it? It's not like he faltered. But with like a K and a half or so, 2K to go, Roglic just puts it down. Sepp comes off the wheel. Luckily, Mikel Landa had been distanced a little bit. He ends up helping Sepp Kuss over the top. Sepp then gets him for the win, or for the third place, for the extra time bonuses. And then all shit went to the. It was crazy stuff because these guys like, oh, I want Sepp to win, but I'm gonna bury it. It was an ugly scene, and it's what happened. So Wout Poels put on a good ride there. João Almeida, a lot of these guys. Kian Utebreks, for the young guy from Bora. There was some weird team stuff going on, but when everything came out, then everyone's like, fine, we'll be good with this. Evenepoel wins another one, but the team solidifies around it. And in the final situation, you have Sepp Kuss with a Grand Tour win, Vinigo 17 seconds, wow, and Primož Roglic a minute 8, and then Ayuso, Landa, Enric Mas, Vlasov, Utebreks, Almeida, Buitrago, 10 plus minutes down there. So it was a close race, and it was fascinating. And lucky for us, we got to watch and experience it all. Okay, so that's kind of the year in review as far as the calendar goes. I mean, there's a few more races that we could talk about, but I don't know that I really want to at this point. Let's go into kind of a sad story. This came across the news wires last night. Rohan Dennis, teammate of Sepp Kuss. He's been charged with causing death by dangerous driving following death of wife Melissa Hoskins. So she's a 2-time Olympian, world champ. I think she won some junior stuff. They got married in 2017, but he's been charged with causing death by dangerous driving after his wife, 2-time Olympian Melissa Hoskins, was killed in a crash in Adelaide. South Australia police said that Hoskins was hit by a car on Saturday evening in North Adelaide. She suffered serious injuries, was taken to the hospital, and died overnight. And by the way, when you look at the video stuff that they've had in this, it doesn't look like, oh, he just was backing out of his garage and hit her. It looks like this is on the road at a high speed. Like, I don't know, they having a fight? Is he running her down? That's kind of what it appears to be. They don't care about that. Let's see what else they say here. Hoskins, they married in 2018, showed the family together for Christmas. They have 2 kids. She was involved in a high-speed crash when training an event in 2016, which saw her hospitalized but not seriously injured. She won 5 medals at various track world championships, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, with the Tour Down Under, this may be something that actually gets even more attention from the cycling world, because as they're going to be down there, you're going to see a lot of reporters possibly taking a look a little bit more at it to see, hey, what's the status of this, and kind of get to the heart of it, what actually happened. We also talked about Tour de Suisse. Stage 6 was neutralized with Gino Mader's death over the side of that hill. That was pretty dramatic to see. I don't know. I didn't see it at the time, but I'd seen some video of down the hill of where it was. Today, I thought maybe they would say who else, because I know the American was in there. I want to say Sheffield. He might have been involved in that as well. He's going to be okay. All right. We're almost done. Here we go. Victor's car accident fatalities might have a dashboard cam. It depends if he had one, on the car himself. I saw it was like a truck. It was fairly new, but it wasn't like, super high. I don't know. It may or may not happen. Who knows? Okay, let's talk a little bit about, so Pogacar, like there's team shake-up stuff that's happening. Jumbo, Ineos, Quick Step, or whatever they are. There's all kinds of contemplations about what was going to happen. Was Amazon coming in, sponsorship? I didn't really talk about those things at the time. We'll let all those shake out. And when the season starts, we'll start getting into it and talk about predictions. As far as me goes back for the year, I want to look at one quick thing. Let's see this guy. I don't even know how to say his name, but this guy I do. Watson Cycling. So let's go to Watson Cycling on his Twitter page. There we go. Okay. Last day of the year, I'm going to post the top performances of 2023 estimated by me. He says all estimates are calculated on standard weight. Okay. So he says the best 10 to 15 minute efforts of 2023. Jonas at the Côte de Monanti. I don't know if that was during the tour. Roglic, I Cappuccini. These are 7.74 watts per kilogram. Damn. And Roglic again in San Luca, 7.55. Best 10 to 15 minute efforts. Vinigo, 7.19 watts. 11.24 in the Zua. These, and then the Xoric de Cati. I think these are Remco Evenepoel, 7.01. I think these are probably like the early season stage races there. Vinigo on the Beges in Spain. That might have been when I think the Tour went over in there. Okay. Best 15 to 20 minute efforts. Did we just do that one? No, we didn't. 6.97 watts on the Col de Mare Blanc on the Tour de France. Pogacar on the Puy de Dôme. That was 6.77. That was a really tough climb. Pogacar again on the Les Batox, 6.69. This was interesting here. The best 20 to 25 minute efforts. Roglic on Laporte. Felix Gall on the Col du Plateau-Valzel. I think that was the Tour Swiss. It says French, though. Might have been that. And then the Montelazara for Roglic at 6.4. Best 25 to 30 minute efforts. Col de Juplin for Pogacar. Roglic on the Angliru at 6.37. Skilmos at 6.39 on the Vars du Sud-Olon. 30 to 40 minute efforts. Leonard Kamna on the Passo San Valentino, 6.29. Vinigo on the Col de Tourmalet, 6.2. Vinigo on the Col de la Loze, 6.09. Did they go in just top three? Yeah. Forty to 50 minute efforts. 6.02 watts. Vinigo on the Tourmalet. Pogacar on the Grand Colombier, Roglic on the Angliru at 5.96. Sepp is right there along with Vinigo. Best 50 plus minutes was crazy. 5.89 on the Tirreno 2000. I think that's Tour Swiss. 5.85 by Adam Yates. That's very, very impressive to go there. Oof. All right, I think that's where we're probably head out. What are the predictions? So Pogacar is going to do the Giro. I think he's going to just win it. And the reason being is, unless other guys change their story, everyone seems to be gearing up for the Tour de France. So it's going to be on Pogacar. I don't know. This was the thing. Chris Horner was saying, hey, Sepp Kuss should actually be going to the Giro. He could get a Giro there because the competition is going to be less. And now Pogacar says, oh, okay, I'll do it. I'll listen to Chris and I'll go there. And since he is, then there's a very good chance that he might just take the win for that. I mean, I don't know who else is going to do it. Otherwise, you have the Tour. Hopefully Pogacar is going to be in good form for that. Maybe we could saw Adam Yates come there. Sepp Kuss thing is going to be interesting. Plus, it's going to be even more fantastic. What we just saw with all the climbing things. You're welcome, Victor. What we just saw from all the climbing stats is Roglic is not on the demise. I mean, he won the Giro. He could have won the Tour of Spain. Either way, he was right up there, and those three looked fantastic for the Tour of Spain. So he's not losing anything, and it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see if his new team has the ability to help him out the way that he really needs them to do. Other than that, Tour de France, Roglic, Vinigo, Pogacar, Evenepoel, I don't know, Jai Hindley, João Almeida, Adam Yates, Sepp Kuss. I mean, you top Brandon McNulty, Matteo Jorgensen. You've got this top brass here that's going to be fantastic. And then, as this Tour Swiss always is, it kind of shakes out. Some guy that needs a win still, hasn't maybe had a great season, maybe he's crashed out of the other Grand Tours. He's going to go there. Maybe one of the guys, maybe it's Sepp Kuss, is focusing on going to the Vuelta to defend. I don't know. Could be fantastic. We have also the Olympic stuff coming up. So there's a lot of things in the mix, and I'm looking very much forward to it. So I hope you all had a fantastic 2023. I'm looking forward to get back on my bike. I've been missing it. I don't know what it is about doing this podcast. I end up, my throat, it's got problems, people. All right. Love you all. Thanks for being. Maybe we'll do try to get Chris back going to do some of these and we can do some prediction show and some racing and then some local stuff for those out there. So thanks, Victor, for supporting it. Everyone else as well. And share the show around because we aren't going anywhere. We're still going to do this. So we're going to end out with our intro video that we had for the Vuelta a España. Take care, everybody.
Even Chris Froome had no response to Alberto Contador today. For the last couple of years, he's looked a shadow of himself, but Contador has shone on this Vuelta, and finally he takes the stage victory.
It's about how much time Richard Carapaz can take. What is the gap going to be? He crosses it at 2:34. So Primož Roglič now has got 45 seconds to get there. Primož Roglič saves La Vuelta by around 19-20 seconds.
21%, it really is a hurt zone, this. Nibali hits it once again. Now can he? Don't forget, he's just got to find 3 seconds here. 4 if he can. Away, and Nibali goes once more in the cloud. Oh, it's almost reminiscent of his job on the Giro d'Italia. He had almost the camera, and has Nibali been taken out here as well?
No,
I don't think there was any contact with anybody. It's just gone pop. Here is Horner. What a performance by this man. As we say, 20 years separating the man who's won the stage and the man who quite possibly has just won the Vuelta. 200 metres. This is going to feel like party time. And the grimace turns into a huge grin. And the clock, watch it when he crosses the line, because this is the crucial timings. He gets the bonus as well, don't forget. There is Chris Horner. Has he just done it for the old guard?